Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your curiosity, dig into the research, and hopefully turn it all into some useful insights for you. Today, we're diving headfirst into a whole stack of updates from the sports tech world. We'll definitely be referencing the kind of deep analysis you get from, say, a dedicated triathlete, runner, gym goer, like the person behind the 5K Runner website. Our mission: cut through the noise, figure out what's actually new, and pull out the really important stuff from this week's news on wearables, bikes, market trends, all that good stuff. Should be some aha moments in here. So, where should we start? How about that device getting a lot of buzz? The Amazfit Helio Band. People keep comparing it to Whoop, especially with that $99 price and no subscription. What's the key thing listeners need to grasp right away?
Yeah, that's exactly the place to start, because the real scoop, maybe surprisingly, is that it's definitely not a Whoop killer. DC Rainmaker, who does incredibly thorough reviews, makes that crystal clear. It's a good device, don't get me wrong, maybe even great for some people, but it's just playing at a different game than Whoop.
Okay, so different purpose, not necessarily better or worse. Got it. What about the hardware itself? Did DC Rainmaker find anything particularly impressive there?
Oh yeah, hardware-wise, it's tiny. Super lightweight too, like 20 grams versus Whoop's 30. And that 10-day battery life, pretty much spot on. The only tiny niggle is the charging puck. It's minuscule, you could lose it easily. But the really smart part for you, the user, is a band flexibility.
Ah, the band. Right, so it uses a standard connector.
Exactly, not proprietary like Whoop.
Yeah.
Which means you can swap it out easily.
And that opens the door for things like that bicep band Chase the Summit found.
Right.
Right, the really cheap Onyx one.
Precisely. Like $9.99 on Amazon US for a bicep band. That's huge, because wearing it on the bicep, well, historically, it just gives better heart rate sampling, more veins, more arteries up there. Plus, honestly, it's often just more comfortable, especially sleeping. And, if you like wearing a proper watch, you can just tuck the tracker into your sleeve. It doesn't really mess with step count either, based on the reviews.
That makes a lot of sense, a good practical tip.
Yes.
So hardware's good, flexible, but the software, the metrics, that's always key.
Right.
How does the Helio stack up there?
It tracks the core stuff, sleep score, biocharge, which is kind of like Garmin's body battery or Fitbit's readiness, and then exertion for workout load. But here's the critical flaw, the thing that really separates it from Whoop, that exertion score. It just hits 100% way too fast.
Too fast, like from just daily stuff.
Yeah, sometimes even just doing dishes, apparently. It seems to be down to really poor automatic workout detection. Whoop's just much better at figuring out if you're actually working out or gardening or whatever and calculating load properly.
Ah, okay, so it can't really tell the difference between puttering around in a proper session. That's a big deal for training load analysis.
Exactly. It tracks other things too, HRV, steps, calories, stress. Sleep timing is apparently good, but the actual sleep scores are maybe a bit subjective, But despite all that, the actual optical heart rate sensor, everyone seems to agree it's very good. Super impressive, really. Often matches Whoop for raw accuracy.
So summing it up then, how should you, our listener, think about this Helio Band? Where does it actually fit in the market?
I think the best way to see it is as a fantastic screenless Fitbit Charge 6. That $99 no subscription deal is incredibly appealing for general wellness tracking, basic activity monitoring, but for serious training load analysis. Because of those software issues with workout detection and load, probably not the right tool. It's for a different user. And hey, Polar's apparently got a subscription-free thing coming too, so this space is definitely heating up with more affordable options.
Right, more choice is always good. Okay, let's pivot from a new challenger to, well, a giant Garmin. They release stuff so fast it's hard to keep up. But what's really cooking on their horizon, especially with those Elevate heart rate sensors?
Yeah, Garmin's always moving. They recently filed a patent for what looks like Elevate 6, and the really fascinating bit is the new sensing methods it talks about. Instead of just one type of light, think of an array of light pairs using different wavelengths like 400 to 1300 nanometers. It's a multipath method, sort of like dual-frequency GPS, but for light into your skin. The idea is to filter out noise and motion much better, so potentially much more accurate readings.
Wow, okay. Like dual frequency GPS for your pulse, that sounds like a leap. What could that actually mean for the kind of data you might get from your wrist down the line?
Well, first off, more accurate existing stuff, heart rate, blood oxygen. But the really exciting part is the potential for totally new metrics. Things like real-time hydration, maybe via hematocrit, which measures red blood cells, and even blood glucose, possibly via glycated hemoglobin, HbA1c, that's a key diabetes marker. Of course, the big asterisk there is regulation. Getting medical-grade approval for glucose monitoring is a massive hurdle and, will take time. Definitely not next year sort of thing.
Hydration and glucose from the wrist. Yeah, that sounds like the future. But while Garmin's pushing the sensor tech, what about features they maybe lack right now in 2025? Where are the gaps people feel?
That's a good question. One big push is definitely 4G LTE or 5G RedCap. Garmin really wants that autonomous watch. Leave your phone at home for workouts, safety features, tracking, the whole bit. Another thing, maybe a fundamental oversight compared to Apple Watch, is always listening voice control. Seriously, think about strength training just saying, correct reps to 10, or change weight to 50 kilos, or just asking for your pace mid-run without fiddling. It seems like a missed opportunity for hands-free interaction.
Yeah, I can see that being super useful. Beyond connectivity and voice, any other cool tech bubbling under the surface that might find its way into Garmin watches?
Well, micro-LED displays are talked about a lot. Amazing brightness, super efficient. But the failure rates in manufacturing are still really high, making them super expensive for now. Solid-state batteries, too. They promise maybe modest battery gains, but again, the cost is likely prohibitive initially. But the really cool stuff, I think, is on the biosensing front, moving beyond basic optical to NetIRs and SWARE shortwave infrared. Think of it as using specific light frequencies to read the chemicals in your sweat or blood non-invasively.
Read chemicals, like what?
The roadmap suggests things like sweat electrolytes and lactate by maybe 2026, huge for athletes trying to dial in nutrition and effort, then maybe early glucose and even alcohol detection by 2027. Later on, more complex stuff like urea, cortisol. It's about getting a real chemical snapshot of your body in real time.
That is genuinely mind-blowing potential.
Okay, what about AI? Koros just made noise there. How's Garmin looking on the AI front? Where should they be aiming, you think? Yeah, Garmin's AI efforts so far. Let's just say they've been described as baby steps. The feedback it gives is often seen as pretty simplistic, almost met with ridicule sometimes. Koros announcing Kara, their AI assistant for non-training stuff, feels like a smarter first move, honestly. For Garmin, ideally, AI should mean a much deeper way to interact with your Connect data. Like imagine a Whoop Coach-style Q&A where you can ask why your HRV dropped based on your specific data and science, or just a system that alerts you across all of Connect. Hey, your resting heart rate trend looks off, or your sleep quality dipped after that hard workout. Maybe take it easier. Real insights, not just platitudes.
That really makes you think. For you listening, what's the one thing, maybe it's AI, maybe it's glucose, maybe something else that would be a true game changer in how you use these devices? What are you really waiting for?
Yeah, what translates all this tech into something genuinely useful for you?
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Look at the whole smartwatch market. Is it still just endless growth, or is the picture more complicated now?
It's definitely more complicated. Counterpoint research found global smartwatch shipments actually fell 2% in Q1 2025. That's the fifth quarter in a row of decline. Main reasons seem to be a slowdown in India, which was a huge growth engine, and Apple's own shipments shrinking a bit. But interestingly, China's market surged up 37%, driven by Huawei, Xiaomi, those guys. And even in India, while the entry level shrank, the $120 segment grew 21%. So people are buying fewer cheap watches and more mid-range ones. It's a shift, not just a simple decline.
Fascinating. So regional differences and a move towards more premium features, even if the overall volume is down slightly. What about Apple specifically? Are they feeling the heat?
They definitely kept their top spot, which is still impressive. But yeah, they had their sixth straight quarter of year-on-year shipment declines. It seems like the competition is catching up, offering advanced features at lower prices, and that's hitting Apple, especially in places like China and India, where value is key. Their premium-only approach might be facing stronger headwinds now.
And how might this pressure, maybe combined with changes to the iPhone release cycle, affect how Apple rolls out new watches? Are we expecting a strategy shift?
It definitely looks possible.
Yeah.
With iPhones getting split releases on budget models in spring, the thinking is the Apple Watch might follow suit. We might see the Watch SE become something like an E model, maybe an Apple Watch 11, to match the iPhone naming. The main differences would be, processor, maybe case materials. So potentially premium models in September, cheaper ease models in the spring. It helps spread out the marketing, maybe boost sales throughout the year. Yeah. Apple definitely wants to turn those declining watch numbers around.
Makes sense. Okay, from the giants to some focused innovators, Chorus and Cento, their software updates can be just as important as new hardware, right? What's the latest on that front?
Absolutely. Software is huge. Koros just dropped App 4.0. And it's a big visual refresh. Much cleaner, more modern look and feel. Two big things. Native training plan integration, finally. No more needing the website for that. And they introduced Kara, their AI assistant for non-training questions. It's their first real step into AI, trying to give quick answers.
Okay, a cleaner app and a bit of AI. What about updates on the watches themselves? Anything exciting there?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. For runners, real-time voice alerts, pace, distance, navigation guidance in English, French, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish. That's pretty neat. For the gym, new on-watch strength exercise animations, and you can edit reps and weights right there. Big convenience, redesigned control center for touch, more sport modes like yoga, Pilates, tennis, Apple Maps integration for route planning, heat strain index if you use a core sensor, and really important, they patched some Bluetooth pairing security issues, so definitely update your Coros device ASAP.
Good heads up on the security patch. And they updated the DRA bike computer too. What's new for cyclists?
Yep, DRA got some love. Proper turn-by-turn navigation now, with street names, flexible route recalculation if you miss a turn, topographic maps, audio alerts, and live weather data. All really solid upgrades for cyclists relying on it for navigation.
Okay, turning to Sunto now. Jerome from the Montre Cardio GPS Montre Cardio blog flags some updates. What's the highlight for Sunto users?
The massive news for Sunto, this is in version 2.43.8 for the vertical, race S. Sunto 9 PO is live track is finally here properly, direct GPS tracking for friends and family. But the really big breakthrough, maybe even more significant long-term, is that this live track feature is the very first third-party application on the Sunto Plus store.
Wow, first third-party app. That sounds like it could open the floodgates, like Garmin's Connect IQ store.
Exactly. It opens up huge possibilities for developers to add new features and functions to Sunto watches. It could be a massive boost for their ecosystem down the line.
That is a big step. Any other useful updates in this Sunto release?
Yeah, some other nice things. An improved track running profile, where you can select your lane for better distance accuracy. That's great for track runners. Also, automatic nightly AGPS updates over Wi-Fi, so getting a satellite lock should be faster, some new data fields, and a new winter map mode. Though, honestly, its practical use for navigating on ski slopes seems a bit limited right now. Needs more detail.
Sounds like good progress overall, but that live track activation, it's not quite as smooth as on other platforms, is it?
No, that's the slight catch. Activating Sunto's live track involves jumping between the watch and a separate phone app. It's a bit clunkier, less integrated than how Garmin or Coros handle it, where it's mostly done on the watch. It works, but the user experience could definitely be smoother.
Okay, last couple of topics. Let's loop back to Whoop for a sec, specifically accuracy. The 5K Runner site went deep on this. What's the crucial takeaway for you, the listener, trying to get the best data from your Whoop?
Right. The absolute key finding from that Whoop 5mg accuracy review is simple. For the most accurate strain score during endurance sports, wear it on your bicep. Wrist placement during workouts. Significantly less accurate because of all the arm movement throwing off the sensor. And why that matters for you is obvious. Garbage data in, garbage insights out regarding your training load and recovery. Interestingly, for strength training, Whoop uses motion tracking more than just heart rate to figure out muscular strain, so placement matters a bit less there.
Okay, so bicep for cardio is the rule. What about other things like readiness or sleep tracking? How does it fare there?
For readiness, yeah, wearing it on the wrist outside of workouts is probably accurate enough for the device to calculate a score, but you gotta remember, readiness itself isn't some perfectly defined scientific standard anyway. Sleep tracking. Whoop MG correlates well with nightly HRV, specifically RMSSD, which is a good recovery indicator. But if you're obsessed with sleep stages, other devices might edge it out, maybe 8 sleep for deep sleep or possibly for REM sleep. So yeah, the bottom line recommendation, want accurate HR during exercise from your Whoop bicep.
Yeah.
Or, even better, use a dedicated chest strap.
Great practical advice. Okay, final topic. New bike tech, specifically the Majim P715's power meter pedals. What's the big deal with these?
The price. They're called the cheapest on the market, like $499 US, $399 UK, and they're claiming plus minus 1% accuracy, which is top-tier accuracy.
Wow, okay, plus minus 1% at that price point. That could really shake things up. What else do they offer?
Pretty impressive specs, actually. 120 hours of battery life, which is great, and magnetic USB-C charging, same as Garmin, better than some others. Plus, they work with both Shimano SPD-SL and Look EO cleats. That dual compatibility is really handy.
So, potentially game-changing price, good battery, flexible cleats. Are we finally seeing power meters become truly mainstream accessible for the average cyclist? And what were the initial hands-on impressions?
I think this could be it, yeah. If that accuracy claim holds up in real-world tests, it absolutely lowers the barrier to entry for power-based training for so many people. Initial reviews say installation is easy. The companion Machine Utility app apparently still needs a bit of polish, though. And there were some early quirks like cycling dynamics data not showing up correctly on Garmin Connect via Bluetooth initially, but compared to the price of Favero Asioma DUOs or Garmin Rally RS200s, it's a huge difference. The takeaway, this is a potential winner, a major disruptor if that accuracy proves reliable. It could bring structured power training to the masses.
So what does this all mean? Wow, we've covered a lot today. From tiny trackers like the Helio finding their niche to the big shifts with Garmin and Apple, software updates from Coros and Cinto, and even down to super affordable power meter pedals. It really shows innovation isn't just about brand new gadgets, right? It's software tweaks, smart workarounds like bicep bands, and this relentless push for more accurate data.
Absolutely. And connecting it all, the big picture is clear. Sports and wellness tech is just moving incredibly fast. Devices get smarter, sensors get better. But the key for you, listening, is understanding the limitations. Knowing where to wear your sensor matters. Knowing which metrics are solid and which are maybe a bit more interpretive. It's about getting the right information for your specific goals, whether that's nailing your sleep or pacing your marathon.
Which leads us to a final thought, maybe a provocative one for you. As these devices gather more and more intimate data about us, what do you see as the next truly useful leap? Is it that real-time hydration alert? Is it AI that actually feels like a personal coach? Or is it something totally different we haven't even thought of yet? What's the ultimate aha moment you're waiting for in this space? That wraps up this deep dive. We really hope digging into these sources gave you some shortcuts to understanding what's happening and maybe sparked a few new questions of your own. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those deep questions.